welcome to the Diamond Niner Gals podcast for week 8 of the 2023 season. I'm Nick, joined as always by Kevin.
What's up, Niner Nation?
Producer Brad, making it all go.
Hey.
And last but never, ever least, head coach Ashley Chastain. What's up, Coach?
Good afternoon.
All right. This is going to be the easiest show that you've ever done, Coach, because all we've got to talk about is the Diamond Niner Gals kicking butt all week long. 4-0 in the week, huge win. I feel good about where this show is headed. Do you?
Yeah. When you go 4-0 on a week, you have a lot of really great things to talk about. So
okay.
And we've usually started the show with a travel update. You only had one road trip this week, so any trouble on the road?
Well, Wednesday we went to Virginia Tech, and it was seamless. It was super easy. Nothing wrong with the bus. It was no traffic. We left on time. We got there on time. It was an easy route. I have actually never been to Virginia Tech. I think I said that last week. So I was really excited to go, and I was shocked at how close it is. I mean, literally, we were there in like 2.5 hours. So, I mean, we were back on campus, I think before 11 p.m. So it kind of felt like I was, getting home at a normal time to go to sleep. It was very strange. But it was a seamless trip, and obviously a really good one to Blacksburg.
Well, we're glad to hear that.
I think Associate Athletic Director Darren Spees had some conversations with the bus company, Kevin. I think I think there may have been some conversations had after softball and baseball last week, but let's get into that Tuesday game. Fun time was had by all. There's nothing but highlights to discuss here, but we've got Lexi Winters with a homer, Lexi Wagner with the SC top 10, Cass Krupert with a homer, pitch hit homer from Kaya Garrett. Boo Vinoy got into the record book once again, all-time career hits leader. But the story that sort of seemed to dominate the day was Sam Gress carrying a one-hitter till practically the end of carrying a no-hitter, to practically the end of the game and finishing with a one-hitter. But Virginia Tech coming into that game ranked 11th. The Diamond Niner Gals put it all together: offense, defense, pitching. Fantastic night for you guys, Coach.
Yeah, it was really special. I think you have certain games and wins that you'll never forget as a coach. And this one, Wednesday in Blacksburg, is definitely on that list for me now. I think our win against them last year is still on that list for me at the Sioux. But this one just, I think beating someone on the road, there's just a little bit of a different element to that. And I think we knew going up to Blacksburg that it was going to be a really tough game. And we had a really great plan against Lemley, who's their ace. I mean, you look at their stats, and she's one of the best pitchers in the country this season. She had pitched almost 100 innings when we arrived in Blacksburg and had punched out almost 150 people up to that point. And so we knew that she was going to strike us out a lot. There's really been no one that she's faced this year that she hasn't done that to. So we just kind of embraced that from the start as an offense. And so I felt like the keys to our success, we were hunting a certain pitch that we felt like she missed the most on, and we knew that we just needed to be ready for it. And I felt like we were going to need one or two big hits. Sometimes, and we'll get into the UTEP series here in a little bit, but, sometimes you feel like you just need to chip away at something to win. That was not the case when we went to Virginia Tech. We really felt like we were going to hit the ball. We were going to need to hit the ball one or two times over the fence to win the game. And that was kind of our strategy. We were selling out for that plan. Lemley punched us out 14 times. But like you alluded to, Winters, Krupert, and Garrett stepped up big, and all three of those guys were ready for the pitch that she missed and hit the ball a long way. So, and on top of that, for us to have a chance with those hits to win, we knew that Gress needed to have her best performance. And we didn't put any extra pressure on her going into the matchup. I think she knew that she needed to throw her best. And we had a great plan against everybody that we faced in their offense, and she executed it beautifully. We threw a lot of pitches on both sides of the plate. We threw a lot of off-speed pitches, and she stayed in really good counts. So I just felt like she was in control of what she was doing the entire game. Like, she did not take one pitch off. She did not take one at bat off. Our defense played incredible behind her. And so every time we made a play, I just felt like that upped her confidence to go harder at the next hitter. And Virginia Tech didn't make it easy for us. I gave the dugout card to Kaya Garrett after the game for her pinch hit home run that put us up 3-0 going into the bottom of the seventh. And Virginia Tech didn't make it easy. And I kind of had that feeling that we were going to have to gut it out, even with a 3-0 lead going into the bottom of the seventh. We were in the middle of their order, and one of their best hitters, she got a hold of one and sent it over right center. And without Garrett's pinch hit home run, the game would have been tied at that point 2-2. And we probably would have gone into extra innings, and who knows what would have happened. Luckily we pinch hit Garrett, and she was ready for the pitch that Lindley missed and hit it a really long way. So Kaya Garrett got the dugout card for that win. It could have easily gone to Croupitt or Gress or Winters or anyone, but I think it's a really tough role to play, to be a pinch hitter and come off the bench and be in really kind of pressured situations. And Garrett has been doing that for us the last couple of weeks. I think at one point in the UTEP series, she was like 7 for 12 in pinch hit opportunities up to that point the last few weeks. So she was the right person for it, and she got the dugout card. And, it really took everybody. I mean, we had great energy on the bus on the way up there, great energy in the dugout. We had a great warm up. And I felt like from the time that we stepped off the bus, like the kids knew that we were going to win the game. Like, you could feel it. And so just really proud of them. I mean, again, it'll be a win that I won't ever forget. I know it'll be a win that most of them will talk about for years and years and years to come.
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned the defense. I know we turned a double play in the game, and then we had the Lexi Wagner play in center field that we all got to see on SportsCenter. How cool was that to have a Charlotte softball highlight number 2 on the top 10 on SportsCenter the next day? Yeah.
I'm so glad you brought that up. It just slipped my mind, actually. But that was a huge moment. That ball was over. I mean, it was over. That could have changed the game. And Wagner has found herself as a starter for us all season long, no matter what she's done offensively, because of how she plays center field. And, she leads our team in the locker room as one of our captains, but she's also a huge leader for us on the field defensively. And, she was locked in. And the cool part about that story of her catching the ball over the fence and robbing the home run was they had worked on that at practice on Tuesday. And so it's just the kind of stuff that gives you chills. I mean, I walk out to practice on Tuesday, and I'm going out to the bullpen, and Jody Davidson, who's our outfield coach, he had the entire outfield during position split working on robbing home runs. I mean, they were running into the fence. I mean, at one point in the bullpen, I thought they were going to knock the fence over. I mean, they just kept running into it. And so they worked on that for about 30 minutes at the start of practice on Tuesday in position split. And it was just so cool to see that preparation translate directly to us winning the game on Wednesday in Blacksburg. And we actually talked about that right after the game was over. Like, no matter how you've performed or no matter what results you're getting, like, keep working hard, because you have to have faith that your preparation is going to put you in a position to succeed eventually. You have to have that faith. And, that was just an example of Wagner preparing for something and then it translating right into us beating Virginia Tech. So that's the cool part of that story, is they worked on it Tuesday, actually at the Sioux in left center. And she caught that ball pretty much dead center field. And then, for her to get the recognition of being number 2 in top 10 on SportsCenter, well-deserved. I mean, I was surprised it wasn't the first one. I don't know who got number 1, but it was an awesome moment for her. I'm really proud of her.
You were the first person I saw tag that SC top 10. Do you think that's how it happened?
Well, we were on the bus. We had our post-game meal right after the game was over. All the players talked to their parents. We had a big showing from Nitro. So, Lena's people were there. Yeah. Lena's people were there. So, the girls went and changed for the trip back, and, kind of the managers, we were all getting our stuff ready to go, get back on the bus and head home. And, we were talking about it with our SID, Bryant Avery, and we were like, gosh, like, we think that could be top 10 on SportsCenter. Like, how do we turn it in? Like, what should we do? And so we just went on Twitter. I went on Twitter sitting on the bus and just tagged it. And he was like, I think that's going to start the process. And then he did all the work on the back end. So, I think, SIDs don't get credit for much, but they are the brains behind a lot of this stuff happening on social media, things that ESPN pick up. I mean, if it's not done, if the process isn't done correctly, some people never see it, the people that need to see it. So credit to Bryant Avery for getting that to ESPN, so that, that could be a really cool moment for our program and for Lexi and her family. But yeah, I guess I was the first one, but that was not me. That was us as a staff. We were sitting on the bus like, okay, how do we get it there?
So a comment about the broadcast, and I think I have a feeling know what you're going to say, but have you gone back and watched that game? You probably watched it. Did you watch it in its entirety?
I did. Yeah, I watched it. I watched it a little bit on the way back on the bus, actually on my phone. And then I watched a little bit once I got home, and then a little bit more the next day. So yeah, I have seen most of it.
So I had an observation in real time about the broadcast of the game, and I changed my mind on it later. So, when you're going on the road, you're getting other people's broadcasters, and sometimes that, that's going to go a certain way or. And Virginia Tech's two-man team was very complimentary of the program from the start. So it's always good to, it's always good when that happens. But as the game went on, they were, and rightfully so. I mean, you brought up that Lemley had 14 strikeouts. They were really pumping Lemley's strikeout numbers while she's trailing. And they were really ignoring, they weren't completely ignoring, but they were a little bit ignoring, I felt at the time, what Sam was doing.
Yeah.
However, when I look back on it, I actually think, I could be wrong, only they know for sure, but I actually think they were avoiding saying the term no-hitter as long as she had it, because at the point where the play was ruled an error at first, the throw to first was ruled an error, they said, and that could have implications, but they never said no-hitter. If I'm broadcasting a Niners game and the opponent is throwing a no-hitter, I'm saying it over and over and over and over and over, because that's just how I roll. But I actually think you could, I don't know if you agree with this, Coach, but I actually think the Virginia Tech broadcasters were being respectful of the no-hitter right there.
Yeah, I think so. So when we're on, a lot of times when we go on the road and, when we went to Clemson, the same thing happened. I do an interview, a lot of prep work with the broadcasters that are going to be calling the game while we're on the road. So I did probably a 30-minute call with the two people that called the game. I think it was Carly and Alex, I believe.
I think you're right.
Name. Yeah.
You're right.
So on Tuesday, the day before we went to Blacksburg, I spent some time with them, and I think it's really cool because they're storytelling just like we are, and they want to know everything about. They want to know anything I'll tell them about the team. They ask me a ton of questions, and we get into some details about certain players and my thoughts on certain players. And so I felt like our broadcast interview was really fantastic. And I think in sports, or especially in baseball and softball with the no-hitter, I think it's, I don't think anyone wants to be the one that jinxed that. So I don't blame them for avoiding, actually verbalizing that it was happening while it was happening. We definitely were not talking about it in our dugout. I mean, no one was speaking about it. So I think, I have to go back and look. I don't know if both of them are from Virginia Tech or if one of them works at Virginia Tech and the other one, the ACC brings in from outside. So
Right.
I don't know if they're actually Hokie, if both of them are actually Hokie fans or they're Hokie people, or, I have to go back and look at, their bios and actually see that. But, I appreciate them not wanting to jinx the no-hitter. And, Limley is going to get a lot of credit on the broadcast because of the stats and how talented she is. And, I think we're a little bit still, when we play in those games and those matchups, we've won a lot of those. So I think we're making our mark, on the people that are calling these games. But, we're still a little bit of the underdog, a little bit of, okay, who is this? Like, we know Charlotte's really good. You can look at their strength of schedule and their RPI and look at what they've done so far. But still, like, when people watch us for the first time or they call us for the first time, there's still that little bit of like, okay, are they going to get it done? Who is this Sam Gress? Who is Cass Crupitt, Bailey Vanoy? So there's probably a little bit of that. And, Lemley and Virginia Tech was a little bit more established in their minds as far as, what they've done with their program. But we embrace that. I mean, we really do. We try to embrace all of that, of being a little bit of still the underdog in people's mind.
That's always worked well.
The schools either, Kevin. The one thing I bring up, Virginia Tech specifically, because we were up there for baseball. I was talking to someone at the Virginia Tech weekend for baseball, and they're kind of in their ACC bubble, and they don't know a lot about what's going on outside of it. Someone literally asked me, "So Charlotte, that's a small school down there in Charlotte?" And I said, "Actually, our school's the same size as this one." What? Yeah. We have a student population same size as yours. I had no idea. I'm like, well, that's you need to get your head out of the sand and look around every once in a while. But anyway, I cut you off to make that point.
No, it's okay. We get that a lot too. I think I think people do have a misconception of how large our university is. Whenever I talk about how big it is to recruits or parents or, broadcasters or people that just don't know much about it, they're always shocked and always surprised. And, I think that's one of the cool things or aspects about what our program and, what we're building and what we're doing is because it helps people, fill the gap in their knowledge of Charlotte. And, I think every time someone calls us or, ACC people broadcast, whatever it is, it just kind of is like one more layer of people that get Charlotte, and so now they know, and, the network and the community starts to grow and the knowledge starts to grow. And, we kind of see our program specifically as an opportunity to be a catalyst for that knowledge and what we're doing. So our kids love it. They embrace it. And, but going back to originally what we were talking about is I appreciate them not wanting to jinx Sam's no-hitter during the game.
Right. But it seems like the 49ers always do well, no matter what the sport, when we have a chip on our shoulder and playing that underdog role. How fun is it? It seems like every show we get to talk about an ACC victory or a top 25 victory or SEC victory. You guys are adding up these they call them scalps, P5 scalps. you guys are piling them up this year, and it's always fun to talk about it because we get to talk about it every week. It seems like, right?
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and the credit goes to the players. I mean, I just can't say that enough. It's been a lot of fun, and it's going to continue to be a lot of fun. We talked Sunday. We had Sunday breakfast before our game 3 against UTEP, and we just kind of reflected on how much gratitude we have for where we're at. And we're 31 games in, so we're a little over halfway, and just embracing kind of the middle of season, the grind of season where, the record is starting to be established and our conference record is starting to be established. And, things are
the resume.
Yeah, the resume is very much being built right now. We can no longer say the start of season, right? Like we are way into the middle of season, the heart of season. And so, we're just trying to stay in a place of gratitude with the team on that and, not add any extra pressure week to week, just kind of stay in the mindset of let's just keep doing what we're doing. And every week is going to provide new opportunities and big opportunities. And, we're going to keep rolling with that.
So let's get into the weekend that was versus UTEP, Coach. Game 1 Friday, the Niners scored early and often. Ended up being a run rule game, and I think after 5. Homers by Rhodey and Hoffler. Hoffler added a double. Crouppen with a double. We had RBIs from Rhodey, Chansey, Vanoy, Wynn, Hoffler, Garrett. Everybody contributing in the big victory. On the mound, Gress pitched 2 innings. Gigi pitched 2 innings, and Matty Wright closed it out for an overall team victory, 14-3 victory. Run ruled on a Friday night, set the tone for the series going forward. Coach, talk about the Friday night victory.
Yeah, I mean, when you score 10 runs in the first 2 innings, it is a lot of fun. I mean, it was a lot of offense and I know we're going to talk about the series as a whole here in a minute, but I'm specifically so proud of Corey Hoffler and Ashley Washington for their entire week's performance offensively this past week. Actually, I have their statistics here. I wrote them down so I could recall them correctly, because if I didn't say it right, they would be upset at me. But yeah, actually 3 people really stand out offensively. Corey Hoffler, Ashley Washington, and Cass Crouppen. Again, she's been so consistent for us offensively all year. But, Corey went 5 for 12 on the week, which, is a .417 average. She had 2 home runs and 5 RBIs for us. Washington went 4 for 6 with that .667 average with 2 RBIs, and she walked 8 times this past week, which is just incredible. Cass went 4 for 13 with a .308 average and a home run with 3 RBIs. So those kind of 3, I think, led our offense. Consistently the whole week they had our biggest performances, and I felt like just the bottom of the first in game 1 against UTEP. I mean, we scored 6, I believe. We scored 6 in the first inning and then 4 in the second to score 10 runs. And you can't ask any more than that. It was a lot of fun. We were able to get people into the game. I mean, we were able to give some pinch hits to people that are just working to get back in the lineup and get back opportunities. On the flip side of that, when your starter can come out after only throwing 21 pitches, I mean, it's a great day. Like, we were able to go to barefoot really early. Sam threw 21 pitches before we put Gigi on the field. It was good to see Gigi work out of some things. She gave up a big hit in the first inning that she went out, which would have been the top of the 3rd. She went out, but I told the team, I told her in front of the team, actually on Saturday morning, I was just really proud of her courage just to kind of keep standing tall and stay out there. And then she had a really good 4th inning. And so to kind of see her go out there and have some success behind so much offense and just kind of pitch with a lot of confidence and her shoulders back and to see her back on the field again was really a positive thing for us. And then, to get Matty Wright an inning on Friday, get her out there and get her throwing again was awesome. So good things happen when you score that many runs. And I'm really proud of Corey and Ashley and Cass specifically, really for their entire performance offensively last week. But yeah, 14 runs. I'll take it.
Oh, who wouldn't, right? I mean,
yeah,
take that any day. Well, let's move over to Saturday. Producer Brad, I think you've got the photo. Let's go to the pregame here. We had we had an official meeting of the Ariana Rhodey fan club. Rhodey's Roadies. There they are. They've got T-shirts. They're standing out in front of the 49er Express there. That's the tailgating rig owned by Zach and Emily Hill. And they thought it would make a good photo op. So roadies were out in full force on Saturday. Great day of tailgating. We had folks come out. They also had right next to that, not pictured, is a tailgate hosted by the women's lacrosse program, just starting up. And then Coach Short came down to the field and threw out the first pitch for you on Saturday. Interestingly enough, using her lacrosse stick, which I
very interesting, Nick.
Well, he's trolling me because I kind of talked her into doing that. I don't know how that idea got started, but I definitely once we heard it was like, you have to do that. So, I mean, everybody throws out a first pitch with, anybody can just lob a ball, but do it with a lacrosse stick. So anyway, it was good. Lacrosse coming to Charlotte, starting with their first classes next year, start playing in 2025. I guess I got here, Kevin, you hadn't seen this, man. Check this out. See if I can, let's see. Check me out.
Look at that.
Nice.
I'm rocking. So Coach Short
swag,
gave me
man.
That's swag. That's right. Coach Short gave me that. So now I'm rocking Charlotte Lacrosse today. On the baseball show, I tell everybody I don't know anything about baseball, or they tell me I don't know anything about baseball. On this show, I say I don't know anything about softball. Lacrosse, I got nothing. Throw the ball in the net. That's all I got. Anyway, fun day on campus Saturday. Cool to have that. Ashley, do you know anything about lacrosse? I don't.
I was about to say we're in that together. I don't know hardly anything about lacrosse. But I'm really excited for Claire and her staff and the players that they are currently recruiting and bringing to campus as early as next year. We can't wait to have them on campus. We can't wait to go to all of their matches and learn about it. That's what I was going to say. Like I will be a big supporter and someone that goes and, that first season just really learns how the game is played, because I've really never been around it. I do know that it's huge in our area. I mean, it just seems like you hear a lot about it, and it's a sport that's growing significantly in Charlotte and all across the East Coast, or all up the East Coast. So I'm pumped that we added it. I'm pumped for Claire and what she's doing. And, just as a fellow female sport, like, we cannot wait to be huge supporters and just their biggest fans once they get going. I mean, they've been working really hard, and I'm grateful for her to throw that. She threw out the first pitch. Nick sent me a text message and was like, "Hey, can I come down to the field and get a ball pregame so we can practice throwing the pitch out with the lacrosse stick before?" I was like, "Sure, come on down." I mean, I was like, she obviously knows how to use it. So I was not worried at all about it. I was like,
she didn't think the ball would fit in the net. That was the problem.
It did. Yeah, it did.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Shout out to Maddie Sherrill for hooking me up with the softball. Came down there and got that. So I don't know. I'll tell you this. Randy Peterson is a big lacrosse guy. Mm-hmm. So between Randy and Coach Short, they've got until 2025 to teach us about lacrosse. So we'll
add me to that list. I want to know everything about it. I believe Randy's son plays lacrosse.
Mm-hmm. He does.
And so he's, I think, a freshman this year in college in Tennessee.
Yeah.
And so Randy is our lacrosse person. Like, we need to get all our info from him for sure.
You know what? Randy should start a lacrosse podcast, maybe. I'd watch it. So let's move on to Saturday. Let's talk about the Saturday game, because Saturday was an unusual game, to say the least.
Yeah.
You guys found yourself in a hole pretty early, giving up 7 runs in the second, and you got it back over the course of 3 innings. You get 3 in the third. Maddie Wright homers get you 4th, and finally you score 4 in the 5th to tie it up. You get all the way back, and then at the end of the game, which I was watching from the stands at the Hayes, high above in right field, looking right down the third baseline, you guys get a walk-off, what we come to know, or I didn't know at the time from my vantage point, but I could see the play happening, what turns out to be a walk-off catcher obstruction call.
Mhm.
In that game 9-8. So that game just had to be a roller coaster of emotions right down to the last moment.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. We talk a lot about when the game starts, we're never going to play a game like a previous one. I mean, from the pitch call to the at bats, like everything about the game that you're playing currently is different and something new. And we talked about with such a big performance on Friday night, a run rule 14-3 game. We talked Saturday morning as a team about how that's in the past. This game is not going to be easier for us just because we scored 14 runs last night. Just respecting the game and respecting our opponent and, playing really hard from the first pitch. And, as a coach, you want them to respond and to, do everything you ask them to do. And, for the most part, this group is fantastic at that. Everything I challenge them with, they step up. And hence Wednesday's Virginia Tech game to Friday's win against UTEP. I mean, they were in a really great place. And so the game started, and Lena Elkins, our freshman pitcher, who has been fantastic for us. I mean, she's already thrown a no-hitter in her career. She's already had a Conference USA shutout victory. So Lena's kind of established herself as our game 2 starter in Conference USA. And so no doubt gave her the ball, had all the confidence in the world in her, and still do. But as you guys know, like sometimes, like for whatever reason, you go out and you just don't have it on that particular day. And I felt like, and honestly, we pulled Lena with a 3-0 deficit. So, I mean, wasn't super significant to be that early in the game. It was the top of the second. She got out of the first and then gave up 3 in the top of the second. I just felt like she didn't have her best stuff. And I felt like mentally she was, a little down about it. So we went to Maddie Wright really quick, and they had a ton of momentum. And, sometimes when you have that momentum, a big hit happens, and they got a big hit. And we found ourselves down 7 runs in the bottom of the second inning. And, as the coach, I'm sitting in the dugout like, whew, okay, like we've got to get it together. Because I was mad and I was disappointed and I was frustrated. And so just, within moments of my own reflection, I knew that the team was so disappointed that the game had started this way. And they were kind of looking around at each other like, we cannot believe this. And so what we did was we came together in so Maddie came in, she got us out of the second inning, 7-0. She went back out. She went back out for the third. She threw up a 0 in the top of the third. I'm recalling the game as I'm speaking here. And then we huddled up in between, the third inning. So going into the bottom of the third, we huddled up. And I just said, hey, like, I know that you're mad, you're disappointed, you're frustrated, you're looking around like, what the heck is happening? I said, what I want us to do is just to reset and start the game over right now. Like, let's just kind of play like the first 3 innings have not happened. Like the game starts now. Like you're going to have to, we know based on the scoreboard that we're going to have to score at least 8 runs to win in the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, and the seventh. And I said, you're not going to score all of those in 1 inning. I said, we've got to have a 2-run inning. We've got to have a 3-run inning. We've got to have another 2-run inning. I said, we've got to chip away at this. And we've got to have offensive production every single inning. And they just looked, they like lockstepped with me. They looked me in the eyes and they nodded their heads and they looked at each other and they nodded their heads and they said, okay, we're going to do this. And they completely mentally reset like the game had just started. And it was the coolest thing. I mean, it really was. I think from that moment on, there was no one in the dugout that didn't know we were going to win. I mean, everyone knew that we were going to win the game at that point. And so we just started chipping away at it. And, you know, their demeanor elevated, their confidence came back, their belief came back, and they started playing hard again. And, you know, the results speak for themselves. Ashley Washington hit that ball in the right center gap. It hit hard off of the wall. And here are the things you don't know, you know, unless we do this podcast. Winners was on first, and we had Winners in motion. She was stealing second, and Ashley hit that ball into right center. And so with Winners in motion, Jody Davidson, our third base coach, felt like she should have enough momentum and speed to score. Well, the ball came off the wall hard. It hit the wall, came off the wall hard. UTEP played it well, and they got the ball in the infield well. And to be honest with you, I mean, sometimes, like, as a coach, you just have to take risk in those moments. And I think that's what Jody did, was he just took a risk. I think he was hoping for obstruction because, again, being honest with you, Winners ran out of gas rounding third. I mean, she was going to be out unless we had obstruction at the plate. And so he kept sending her, and we definitely had obstruction. I mean, it was not even close. And, you know, I felt like the umpires made a really good call there. And yeah, we ended the game with obstruction on the catcher. And sometimes that's just the way it goes. And that's what it looks like. And I think the most important thing for us is that we found a way to win. And there's just so much value in that. It's sometimes not going to look pretty. You go back and look at that box score and you're just like, wow, like, who would have thought that that's how game 2 would have gone? But I just have to believe there's a reason for it, and we'll be better for it down the road when in a couple of weeks we are trailing someone in the second, you know, maybe 3 or 4 runs. And at that point in the future, the team is going to believe that they can come back and win because, hey, we did that against UTEP a couple of weeks ago. We came back down 7, you know, and then UTEP ended up scoring 1 more run. You know, we ended up having to score 9. My hero, honestly, my hero for game 2 is Maddie Wright. And I really shouted her out to the team post game on Saturday and Sunday morning again, because we had a really specific plan. Once Lena came out of the game as the starter so quickly, I had a conversation with Maddie, and I said, hey, we're going to restart this game mentally. We're going to pitch like it's 0-0 from the first. Like, this is how it's going to go. And I said, I need you to keep the game where it's at. And she looked me in the eyes and she said, I got you. And she looked her team in the eyes and she said, I got you. And she gave us a really good performance. And she knew that when we got within 2 runs of UTEP, that we were putting Sam on the field. And I was really honest with her. I said, I need you to hold it here. I said, I need our offense to get within two runs, striking distance of winning the game. And I told her, I said, Sam's going to go on the field at that point. I mean, she had thrown 21 pitches the day before. So, you know, I felt like we weren't going to lose the game with her in the dugout. She's the ace right now. So, and Maddie was like, I got it. Like, I got you. I'm going to get us to Sam. And, Sam was pacing up and down the dugout. I mean, her and Maddie were just lockstep with each other the entire time. And as soon as the opportunity presented itself, Maddie passed the ball on to Sam. And, you know, Sam threw 2 innings for us. I think she struck out 2 in those 2 innings and ended up winning the game for us to win the series. But I was so proud of Maddie and just the burden that she carried from when she went in the middle. She went in the middle of the 2nd inning, and the burden that she carried for us to get to Sam once our offense got in striking distance of winning the game. So really cool story. I mean, it's college softball. I mean, it's not perfect. It's not pretty sometimes. It's gritty. And they had to fight and grit that one out. And they did not expect to do that, I don't think, going into the game. But once they realized that was their reality, they changed their mindset. They changed their whole demeanor from being kind of mad, disappointed at going behind or getting behind 7 runs in the second. And they figured it out. And I couldn't be more proud of them for it. I mean, they were down 7. they fought their way through and got it done. And it was just a really cool day for the program. And that gave us the series win, which is a big deal.
Yeah, great to see a character win like that. It's also to see a team bounce back when you get punched in the face, bounce back and keep chipping away, and end up with a chance to win in the end and taking advantage of that opportunity. So you get the series, you take the series, but you told us last week the goal was to sweep. So
yeah,
go into Sunday with that goal still in mind. You just get a 6-0 shutout. Sam Grass on the mound. Lots of offense, double from Ella Chansey, Bouvenoi, Corey Hoffler with a double and a homer. RBIs from Washington, Vanoy, Hoffler Winters. Seems like just like a Friday game almost, but not as many runs, but great pitching performance and great offense. No letdown from the game before when they had to exert a lot of energy to come back. Great to see the Sunday sweep. Coach, tell us about the weekend as a whole and that Sunday sweep over UTEP.
Yeah. I mean, you guys know winning is hard. And winning series is harder and sweeping is the hardest. I mean, it's like, it doesn't matter who you're playing. I mean, to beat someone 3 times in 3 days is a really tall task. It's tough. And I think Sam was fresh. She threw 21 pitches in game 1. She threw 2 innings in game 2. And so, I mean, she was ready. She was ready for it. And it was her 12th win of the season for us, which is awesome. And her performance for the sweep on Sunday really, I think, solidified her to get Conference USA Pitcher of the Week this week, which was announced a few hours ago. It's been put on social media. She won 3 games in the course of the week. And so I thought Sunday's performance from Grass was really the highlight and just kind of the cherry on top of the week that she's had for us. But to score 6 runs, it was awesome. When you have offense that's really kind of firing on all cylinders, I felt like we didn't try to hit the ball over the fences, and they all want to hit the ball over the fence. And I love it when they do that. Don't get me wrong. But I think sometimes when you're trying to win the game that way, your pitch selection can decrease or, you just can kind of get out of the process. And I felt like specifically in this series for us as an offense, we just passed the bat. Like, I mean, it was, line drive, hit the ball up the middle, pass the bat. We had a ton of people on base. We went through the order multiple times every single game. It was just great. So I thought Sam's performance, she had a lot of confidence just for the sole fact if she knew that our offense was doing so well against the UTEP staff. So yeah, it was great. I mean, I've already alluded to the offensive weekend that Corey Hoffler had, that Ashley Washington had, that Cass Krupit had. I mean, Ashley Washington walked 8 times. I mean, to be the leadoff and to walk 8 times, I mean, it was just like, it was insane. I mean, it kind of became a joke in the dugout. It was like, she's going to get on. Like, it's going to happen. I mean, she had a streak going,
OBT.
Yeah. Which is really what it's about. I mean, we have really tried to focus on the on-base percentage throughout the course of the entire season and less about the averages, but really more about the on-base percentage. And I think that's why, you look at some of the averages and you're like, oh, well, that person's not having quite the offensive year that they had last year previously or whatever the situation. But you have to deeper dive in that. There's just such a story behind. It's just more than just the batting average. And we've got kids that, just are getting on base a lot. Taylor White texted me last night that if we don't lead, we're right at the top in the country in hit by pitches. And so like we are just significantly higher in hit by pitches than all of the opponents that we play, and so I think that just speaks to our kids taking a lot of pride in their on-base percentage and knowing that, you know, all they got to do is get to first, and that's really what it's about. And then we can put pressure on and make things happen. And then we've got really talented hitters that can have a big moment, you know, and a big hit and score runs. So just really proud of them for that. I just felt like the entire series was just a really good depiction of really who our offense is as a whole. So, but yeah,
Coach mentioned that Sam was named pitcher of the week just a few hours ago. This is out of the 7 weeks of the season, this is the fourth time that one of the Niner gals has received an individual award, which I know it's not what they're all about, but still, if you take care of business, then these kinds of things tend to happen. Just to give you the stats on that, to back up Sam's performance, you mentioned it, 3-0 in the week, but a 0.78 ERA, 13 Ks, and opponents hit 102 against Sam this week. That's pretty impressive under any circumstances.
And that was in 18 innings. She pitched 18 innings for us this past week.
Yeah, just fantastic. And as we said, I know y'all aren't out for individual honors, but when you take care of business, these types of things tend to happen.
Well, yeah, I think it's awesome. I mean, ever since a couple hours ago when it was announced that Sam was pitcher of the week, I mean, just to see the team's response to that on social media is something I'm really proud of. I mean, they are just each other's biggest hype mans. Like, the text messages and the group me messages and the Twitter shout outs and the quote tweets. And, you know, I think that they were really waiting for it on pins and needles all morning because the entire team knew that she probably would get it with that stat line. So they love celebrating each other. And, you know, that makes it really awesome from an internal standpoint to be in the program every day.
And she's been close to getting it several times this year, it seems like. And we're glad to see her finally get the recognition she deserves. She's having a great season, great season so far.
Yeah, she is. I'm thankful for her. And, you know, just I think back to her recruiting last summer, you know, that's, I think, a cool part as a coach is when you see him have success like that, or, you know, you get pitcher of the week and, you know, you just think back to when it all started. And, you know, I think back to when we recruited Sam back in the early part of last summer. It was June. And, you know, it was kind of funny because Taylor Wyke and Jody Davidson, they were out recruiting actually. And it's kind of a joke because I was the primary person for the visit on campus. So I stayed on campus to host Sam and her family. And it was a really great couple of days with them. I take credit for it. I sealed the deal on the visit. I teased the staff about that one. So
that's awesome. Kevin, you're always Johnny on the spot with the Boo Watch, and we need to get to talking about next week so we can before we get out of here. But very quickly, another week, another Boo Watch, another record, Kevin.
Yeah, she passed the career hits total. She's all-time 49er career hits leader now, and she broke the record, and now she's adding to it. Up next in the upcoming weeks, she's 4 doubles away from the doubles record of 58. So that's something to keep an eye on for Niner fans out there. I'm sure we'll be talking about it in the weeks to come.
Yeah, gosh, we probably won't get to talk about that till maybe not even the week after. I mean, maybe it might be the week after next. Gosh.
Yeah.
Boo's probably taking that as a challenge right now. Oh, yeah, I'll do it.
I hope so.
Yeah,
let's do
that'll
it.
Work. Update on one thing, and this involves all the Niner gals. I'm going to run through this quickly. We're going to put this on Twitter. This show usually comes out about Tuesdays about lunchtime. We'll put this on Twitter Tuesday morning. Niner Nation Gives us this week, and we alluded to this last week. We've got 2 fans, let's call them, Jimmy Touchstone and Randy Peterson, they are going to make a contribution to the softball program as a part of Niner Nation Gives. But they've turned it into a competition because they are longtime friends, fraternity brothers, and they turn everything everything into a competition. So what they're going to do is if you Niner Gals, here's their Twitter handles, go check them out. They have been posting videos all weekend, trolling each other about who deserves more of your support for this Niner Nation Gives campaign. Each one of your votes is going to be worth $49, a $49 donation to the person who receives your vote. So all we're asking you to do is we're going to put this on social media, reply to it. Each Diamond Niner Gal, all 23 of you get a vote. You get to pick one guy over the other as who you think's the better Charlotte softball fan. And Kevin and I, as independent, unbiased arbiters, will tally those votes and let you know the victor. And then somebody, I guess I think Niner Nation Gives ends on, is it Wednesday or Thursday? I'm probably messing this up right now.
Thursday.
49 hours. 49 hours starting tomorrow.
For 49 hours. I think it's Thursday at lunchtime.
Yeah.
By midday Thursday, both these guys are going to be writing checks, and who writes how much check is going to depend on what the Diamond Niner Gals say. So look for that on Twitter tomorrow morning. We'll get that. Well, by the time you're watching this, it'll be today. So we'll get that lined up for you. All right. We need to jump into the week ahead because we always try to get the table set. This is in very short order, Coach. This is 4 more top 100 RPI games starting on Wednesday, 5 p.m. You guys are hosting UNCG at the Sioux. UNCG is 22-12, coming off a weekend sweep of ETSU in SoCon, and they're not going to be a pushover by any means.
No, I was, prepping for them today, actually, and, just looking across the stat lines, offensively, really similar. I mean, kind of eerie similar when it comes down to total hits for both offenses, doubles, home runs, average, on-base percentage. It's all really tight. It's really close. So, the Greensboro games have always been good ones for us. It's always a battle. We play them twice every season, once in Charlotte and once in Greensboro. So this year we just happened to play them in Charlotte first. And so we're excited about it. And, we just always expect both of these games to be, be a fight. So we're expecting that again this year. And, even both pitching stats are really similar. They actually have 4 kids that have thrown a significant amount of innings. So that's a lot of prep work for Taylor Wyke. And, tomorrow at practice, we'll be talking about more pitchers than we probably normally do, just because we're not quite sure who's going to throw since it's kind of equal on their staff. But it's pretty evenly matched up on paper. I think the biggest difference in our program right now and theirs is just the overall strength of schedule. I think our kids have been tested. As you guys know, week in and week out with really, really top opponents. So I think that probably is the edge that we have going into the matchup on Wednesday.
Right. So then we jump right back into conference play this weekend. We go on the road to Western Kentucky, who's 20-9. They're coming off a sweep of North Texas last weekend. They were picked to finish one spot above us in the preseason coaches poll. They were picked to finish second, and Niners were picked to finish third. Coach, tell us about the big weekend ahead, what to expect from Western Kentucky.
Yeah, this is a big series for us. It's going to be the toughest series, I think, of Conference USA play for us so far. And we're on the road at their place this year, so it's going to be a good one. It's a really, I think, going to be a significant one when conference play is all said and done. I think there's a lot that's going to ride on this series specifically. They swept North Texas this past weekend, like you alluded to. And North Texas was picked to win the conference, and they were picked second. We were picked third preseason. So it's going to be really good softball. I'm really excited. They lost some pitching from last year, so I think their pitching staff is going to be different than what we've used to in the past 2 seasons playing them. But they return a lot of position players and a lot of their offensive players that we are very familiar with. Taylor Sanders, I think, is kind of leading their charge right now. She got Player of the Week this week in Conference USA. She had a great weekend against North Texas. So it's going to be 3 really tight, really good games. And we couldn't be more excited about the opportunity to really get in and compete for the top of the league, because that's what it is, as we're competing at the top of the league with them right now in the standings. So we fly to Nashville on Thursday, middle of the day. In Bowling Green, Kentucky is about an hour north of Nashville. So we'll have a little bit of a road trip once we land in Nashville, about an hour north, and then we'll practice at their facility on Thursday night.
You always know that anybody can beat anyone else, especially in league play. But I did not have Western Kentucky sweeping North Texas on my bingo card.
Me neither. I thought that it was going to go back and forth. I was really unsure of who would actually win the series. But if you had told me that Western was going to sweep them, this past weekend, I would have been shocked. I agree. It was not on my bingo card either. But like you said, I mean, it's league play, and everyone's fighting for the top spots going into the tournament, and to get to postseason. So, Western has been historically very good in Conference USA, and they are between North Texas, Western, and us. Western Kentucky is staying in Conference USA. So, they're I think they're just kind of right at the top of Conference USA right now and everything that they're doing.
Yeah, it's going to be, I guess the way to put it is Sunday night, somebody's going to be in first place.
Yeah.
It might as well be us.
Yep. Now we've got one more series on them. They had a bye weekend, I believe, the first week. So we played FIU, and I believe that they had a bye the first weekend out of a conference play. So we've played one more series than they have. And they played UTEP the second week, which was their first series, and UTEP did beat them a game. Western ended up winning the series, but UTEP, I think, beat them in extras game 1 while we were at FAU down in Boca. So we do have one more series underneath us.
Awesome. All right, folks. Well, it's time for us to get out of here. Hopefully this has given you your weekly fix of Diamond Niner Gals softball talk. We appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in to the Diamond Niner Gals podcast. If you're enjoying the show, make sure to click subscribe on the YouTube channel and turn on notifications so you will be notified of fresh content. You can also find the Diamond Niner Gals podcast on Spotify. Follow Diamond Niner Report on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Still no TikTok. We put all our content there. We love hearing from you. Feel free to reach out, say hello on social, or next time you see us at the Sioux. So for Kevin, producer Brad, Coach Ashley, this is Nick saying, we'll see you at the Sioux.
Good night.